like you do it, because you have to believe in your product. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to whether you believe in your product, bottom line. And so if you believe in your product, you're either going to use it, your family's going to use it, people that you know are going to utilize it. So again, you don't want to be the one to say you wouldn't even use your own product. That's something that you would not want to do, right? Okay, so just wanted to kind of point that out, and I know that you guys see where I'm going with this, and I am hopeful that it makes the sense that I think that it makes. So again, thank you guys for joining. I know I haven't been saying that as much, but just know that I don't want to spend all the time talking about things that aren't valuable, but know that you are valuable, and I want to make sure that I do not overlook you. Thank you for being a part of this. Those of you that are watching on the replay, thank you so much. Again, like, share, comment. Just because we're going to be having people on Friday does not mean that you will not be a part of the interactive discussion. Put your questions in there. Put your comments. Thank you so much, Vicky. Put your comments in there, right? Put your comments in there. Ask your questions. You can do that. For those of you that can, I know some of you may be at work, but those of you that can, please feel free to do that. So this is really one that I think a lot of us fall into. When we are talking to a potential client or a prospect, and for a potential client, we're trying to maybe introduce them to some new products or services, we sometimes will compare our product to another company's similar product. Let me tell you why that is a bad idea. It's a bad idea because you may not know the experience that the client or the prospect has had with that particular company. And if it's a negative experience, you have now placed your product or service in jeopardy. If this is a client that will say, well, if this is just like so-and-so, I don't want anything to do with it. You will never know that this is why the client said no. You'll never know that. And so that's why it's very important that your product stand on its own. Your product needs to stand on its own. Your product, your brand needs to stand on its own. And the way that I get my clients to understand this is I go through an exercise with my clients where I say, if your brand was like other brands that are out there, what brands would they be? And the reason that I do that is I need to see what class of products or services you see yourself or you visualize yourself being. Because you're doing that, now you can measure yourself against those brands while you're creating your own brand identity. So that when your client comes to you for yours, you already know the things that your clients are looking for. So for example, I'll use myself as an example. When clients come and they're talking to me, especially startups, they want to know how they can get their business going. 9 times out of 10, listen, I even talk with medium-sized businesses that they don't have their copyrights in place. A lot of times they don't have the right business structure because this isn't something that they knew that they needed to make changes to when they moved to a certain level. These are the things that I talk with them about. I don't say, well, other people do that. I don't tell them that. I say, hey, these are some things that I think you need to consider. And these are the services that I provide that can address that. Let me know if that's something you want to go forward with. And I'm able to do that because I've come to a place of confidence in my own brand and what I have to offer customers. That's what I'm trying to encourage you guys to do. I'm trying to encourage you, or I'm encouraging you, actually, I'm encouraging you to get to that place, guys, where there is a comfort that you don't have to compare, you don't have to contrast or anything. Now, if the potential says, well, I only use so-and-so products, right? You can still say to them something else. meaning you can say, oh, I understand. What do you like most about that product? What is it that makes you say you only use that product? So what are you doing? You're finding out what it is that they like. You're finding it out so that you can figure out a way that you can distinguish your product from theirs. Even if it's, well, we have a very similar product and it is this. Let me show you this product. You don't ever have to say, see, it's better than such and such. What you say is, well, let me show you this. Because see, I know you said you liked X, but in addition to X, our product also has Y. And this is what Y does. Again, adding that value. That's why you shouldn't say it. That's why, if you can, avoid it. But if they bring it up, now you know how to deal with it. Okay? Let me tell you something. I've had this happen to me, and we see this a lot of times. They will tell you about the different famous people that go to these different establishments, and this happens to them. What happens to them is you may not be able to afford this. When I am in a session with someone, that is something that I never say. If they ask me what a price is, I tell them. It's up to them to decide whether they can afford it. And let me tell you why. Affordability really comes down to value. We can afford anything we want. We literally can. Even if we have to save up for it, even if we have to go sell a pint of blood, I'm not advocating that. But what I'm saying is, anytime we want something, we can get it. And we find ways to get it. So never feel as if you need that a client can't afford something. Now, in previous videos, I've had people that have been a part of the video say, well, I have clients come and they can't afford, they basically what they want, they can't afford. So in sales, as the expert, what you do, don't turn the client away because they can't afford that. Is there a cheaper way for you to do it that can place the item into the client's price point? Very key that you understand that. Is there a lower ticket item that addresses the client's pain point that you can then say, you can do what you would like. However, I would invite you to consider this product, because this product will address this, and this. It will help you do these three things. And then if this works, you can upgrade to the so-and-so product. Okay. You haven't said, well, I know you can't afford it. What you said was, let me give you something that is more reasonable based on your present situation. And then when your situation changes, now you can come to this other item. Okay. So just want to make sure, never, ever say you may not be able to afford this. Quick story. And then I'm going to get to the last one because our time is running out. When I was looking for a car to buy. This was in 2009 or 2010. I'll never forget this. I was looking for a car to buy. I knew the type of car that I wanted. I knew the model. I knew everything. I knew exactly what I wanted. Went to the dealership and I'm looking at the car and I say to, how they all run out. And the person who decided that they were going to help me, it told them what I was looking to do, told them it was a cash purchase. And I said, I want to see this one. And if you have a few others like it, I just want to see a variation. And he said, well, before I let you test drive this car, we're going to have to verify that you have the funds to purchase it. I said, well, sir, if I were financing the car, you would get the keys and you would take me for a test drive, right? Yes, but you're not financing the car. You're paying with cash. So we have to verify funds before we allow you to drive the car. Just test drive the car. I said, oh, okay, no thanks. But let me tell you the great thing that happened. I was able to then to go to a broker. And I gave the broker what I was looking for. Not only did the broker find me better than what I thought I wanted, but about $4,000 cheaper going through a broker. But the biggest point is that particular salesperson lost out on a major deal just by being a jerk and making an assumption, I guess, based on how I looked. I really don't know. Maybe that is their policy, but it's horrible if that's what it is, because you don't do that. This is not a regular course of business. This is not the normal response that one gets when they go to a car dealership. So I tell you that story because you never know what a person can afford. You never know what they're willing to sacrifice to do this very thing or purchase your service or purchase your product. So you must treat everyone the same. You must treat everyone the same. So let me make sure, yes, treat everyone as if they have a checkbook in hand. That's the point I want to make with that. Treat everyone as though they have the checkbook in hand. The last thing that you really never want to tell a client or a prospect. Now, again, this is when you're talking to them. I'm off work. I'm off duty. And again, this is for entrepreneurs, because the one thing, the way that you handle that is don't take calls outside of business hours. Be structured in your business hours. Your clients will respect you, right? And they will respect your time. But don't say, hello, well, I'm off duty. Don't do that. That is bad customer service, because if you answer, they expect service. If you respond, they expect service. That's just like if you're going to be out of town, if you're not available, if you sell a product or a service and you don't have any to sell on your website, make sure it says out of stock. If you're out of the office and you're not going to be taking calls, make sure that your outgoing voicemail, make sure that your emails say that and reflect that. You're going to be out of the office, which means you're not available. Now, if you have a service-based business or even a product-based business, and there's someone else, a warm body that can help them in your absence, utilize that individual, because that way you can still service clients and see what's going on, and you're not so behind when you're able to come back. So these are all things that I think you have to always be present and connected. So they say, oh, entrepreneurs are never off duty, but we do have downtime. But there's a way to deal with that. Like I have people say, well, LeTonya, I always see you posting on social media. It seems like you're everywhere, because I realized I needed something automated to keep that going, so that when I want to operate, I'm operating in a global setting. Everyone is not on the U.S. time zones. So I need something going when I'm asleep, so I know where my business is coming from. Okay. So maybe a choppy example, but I think you get what I'm saying. You need to always be present. There needs to be a level of availability. Now, I know that sounds like that's different from what I just said, but it's not, because your level of availability is you are keeping your client informed. If they send you an email and you're on a cruise ship where you can't get email, and they need you, they don't have information. If they send that email and you have an out of office reply, guess what? They are going to then know that you are not available, and it will be okay. It will be okay with you. They know that you're not available. This is why I'm giving you guys these tools and tips, just small things that you can do. But to be present, you need to make sure that you have something automated in place. Again, it could be your voicemail, but clients need to be able to know that if they need you, that they can get you, or they can get a surrogate in the meantime. So thank you guys so much for joining me on Power of Attorney with LeTonya Moore. I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. To find out a little bit more about what I do, visit www.LeTonyaMoore.com. do not forget our free Friday